First video was great. Okay, let's
The
see.
smile.
Okay, Lori Broccoloni here with Tina Snyder from Horse Safe Haven Farm out in Sykesville, Maryland. And we had a video about the horse slaughter in the bill, the what's it called, HR?
362 in the Maryland House.
Get closer.
Yep, HR 362 in the House.
Okay, and you are, sir?
I'm Chase Jordan.
Okay, and what do you...
I previously worked on Capitol Hill, and I've been a lifelong advocate kind of lobbying and just understanding how people can be part of the process, the legislative process.
Okay, so on the last video we talked about the bill, and so you have this cute little baby here. Now we're going to talk about the solutions tying in through everything. So talk about the baby real quick and speak loud.
So this little guy, we've only had him since Thursday. He's one of those horses that's probably a product of overbreeding. We got him from someone that placed him on Craigslist. They had bought a foal, 8 months old, thinking that they could put their 8-year-old child on him and go riding off into the sunset, having absolutely no horse knowledge. We have no background on him. He's extremely timid. He's had very little handling. As you can see, he's still pretty dirty. He's not really comfortable with us brushing him yet, so we're going to take our time. So he's one of the lucky ones because he will get completely rehabilitated. He will get gelded, meaning he'll be neutered, and then we'll get him into a wonderful home somewhere along the line. So many of these babies are just products of overbreeding because there's no licensing process for horse breeding in the state of Maryland or on a national level. And until we do that, we're going to have these babies as throwaways.
And so if the HR bill comes through, what is the solution for the state of Maryland for the horse that's overpopulating?
Well, if we get rid of the slaughterhouse auction, so there's no dumping ground anymore, a couple different things are going to happen. We're going to then work on trying to get licensing required for breeders and a fee paid to breed your horse. So at that point we'll have inspectors that'll have to come in there periodically to make sure that things are not getting out of hand. If there's no dumping ground for horses, then people are going to have to be more responsible, because if they want to have a product that somebody will buy, they're going to have to take care of that product.
Now, are we going to have holding facilities like dog pounds?
What we're really looking at doing in Maryland is having a type of an equine welfare center, where in the event that an owner has no other options, the horse is old, they can no longer take care of it, they don't know what to do with the horse, we're going to have a center that's like a surrender center. You can bring that horse, no questions asked. We're going to take the horse, and some will be fielded out to the various rescues after we get them healthy, vaccinated, and hopefully placed in homes. Others will be humanely euthanized by a veterinarian. It's always the better option to euthanize a horse that cannot be placed than it would be to send them to slaughter. So that way these horses will not just sit in the fields. People always say if you stop the export of horses going to slaughter, then these horses are going to starve to death in the fields. And that is absolutely not necessarily the case. We're going to have euthanasia clinics throughout the state. We're going to have surrender centers. So there will always be an option for any horse owner that can no longer take care of their horses. And we're also looking to really stay on top of the breeding situation to make sure that doesn't get out of hand.
And to kind of tie along with that, Tina does a fantastic job of giving all of her time, a lot of resources to kind of her passion, and that is rescuing horses. So we talked a little bit about what was happening on the national level, the 2007 defunding of domestic horse slaughter factories. There was the 113th Congress, the SAFE Act, kind of limiting the exportation of horses, but kind of zooming into the Maryland level, what's happening here. There's a bill called Cost of Care.
The Cost of Care.
The Cost of Care bill. It unanimously passed the Senate. It was sponsored by Jamie Raskin, who's running for Maryland's 8th Congressional District right now.
Okay, you got the primaries coming, guys.
Yeah, April 26th. So he was the real driver of change behind that in the Maryland Senate. Unfortunately, there were complications between the Senate and the House, and there was not reconciliation before the General Assembly adjourned for the session. But this is the furthest that this bill has ever made it, right? Because it's been introduced several times, but it had a clean passage through the Senate. There were some changes in the House, but because of this reconciliation process, we're hoping to carry all of the hard work that's been put forward into next session, and making sure that Tina and people like Tina get the resources that they
And so
deserve.
what can the Maryland voters do?
Make sure that you let your congressman know what's going on. So like you mentioned, April 26th is the primary. We've got a lot of exciting races this year in Maryland. The Senate race is one of the big ones. Chris Van Hollen, who's running for Senate, is one of the sponsors of the SAFE Act from the 113th. And like I said, Jamie Raskin's running for Maryland's Congressional 8th District. And he was the original sponsor and senator of the cost of care in the House. So just making sure to engage with your legislators, call them. Letters make a huge difference. And if you get a group of friends together and kind of organize events, in campaign season, congressmen will come to you, right? So making sure that if you kind of get your issue together and get a group of people together, the hill will come to you, right? Politicians are here to kind of serve the people. And if we ever can identify where the people are, we definitely come to them.
Okay.
Good to know. Now, do we know what the Cost of Care Act is?
No, we don't.
Well, what that is right now, if horses are seized through animal control, or any animal, this applies to dogs, cats, all animals, and they go into a rescue situation, who pays for all that? Who pays for the rehabilitation, all the medical care that they need?
Very expensive.
Yes, it's very expensive, especially when you talk about horses. Right now, it is the rescues are paying for it, and they're using their donor funds to pay for it. Sometimes the counties can help pay for it. So what we want to do when those animals come into protective care is we want to get them rehabilitated and available for adoption just as soon as possible so they can go on to another home. However, in the event that the original owner decides that they will not sign over that animal, and they want their day in court, which sometimes can take 18 months to 2 years. In the meantime, that animal cannot have training or be adopted out. In the case of a horse, the only training they can have is what's necessary for safe handling for routine care. They can't be ridden or evaluated under saddle or anything like that. So, and then in the meantime, they're taking a space, and other animals may not be able to come into the rescue system because of that. So what the cost of care bill is going to do is, if you want to wait till your day in court till a judge makes that decision whether or not you're going to relinquish the ownership of that animal, you will be responsible for cost up to that point of rehabilitation and basic normal care. And
Which is a good
bills.
idea.
It really is, because then I think a lot of people that don't sign over the animals simply because they're angry will really think twice if they now have to foot the bill for the rehabilitation of the animal, because the sooner they get signed over, the sooner they can move on to a better life.
So that sounds like a really, really awesome bill.
It's really awesome, and it's in the state of Maryland, and hopefully it'll go national after that.
Yeah.
Great, and I hope other states will take the lead.
Yes, and remember, it's not simply horses, it's all
Cats,
animal
dogs.
shelters, all animal shelters.
Well, thank you very much for clearing it up. So there you have it, the solutions for the overpopulation, overbreeding program, and it's called
Cost of care.
Cost of Care Act.
ASPCA is a national sponsor of the legislation, so if you want to just go to their website, you can also look there for some more of the details.
Now let me say this, the cost of care really doesn't have much to do with the overbreeding situation.
Yeah.
That's a totally different thing. What we want to do for the overbreeding situation is we want to get the SAFE Act passed. That's Senate 1214 and House number.
God, can't call it off the top of my
Laura's
head
going to
anymore.
get back to you on that. 'cause I
Yeah,
don't
I'll
have
put it
either.
down in here in the thing.
That's the one that's going to stop the export of American horses to Canada and Mexico for slaughter. And as soon as we take away that business-making adventure, the backing up of that is that people will not carelessly breed horses. They won't throw them away because there'll be no place to throw them. So now if you don't take care of your horse properly, don't rehome your horse properly, you're either going to have to take them to one of the welfare centers that will either euthanize them or place them up for adoption, or you will have to face animal control if you don't take care of your animal. So that's what the future's looking like.
Good to know. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for all you do for the horse industry. Tina, you are a asset, and your friend here, can't remember his
Case.
name.
Fine,
Case.
Case.
Case. Thank you so much for letting the public know about the Safe Care Act. And he wants to get in the picture. He's just like,
Bye, little one.
oh, now he's been tied. She rescued him. He was tied for, you don't know how long.
At least 2 months.
At least 2 months. The people just were very unaware of how to handle a horse or much to take care of it. It's best to go to either a 4-H page or get your knowledge on horses before you get one. It's just not like getting a
4-H and Pony
dog.
Club have great programs. And if you check us out, Facebook, Safe Haven Equine Warriors, you can follow this little guy as we bring him back to health.
Yeah, isn't he a cutie? She's having a name contest, and please donate to Safe Haven. They're always wanting donations to help with the cause. Thank you so much, Tina and Case. Good day.
Thank you.